I've been suicidal for about 7 years now. I've never once told anyone before making this video. This is by far the hardest and most terrifying thing I've ever done. Please bear with me, it's going to be a little bit rough, but my aim was to make it as real and authentic as possible. I'm not looking for sympathy, and I don't want others to feel sorry for me. My goal is to raise awareness and that somebody out there will feel just a little bit less alone, a little more understood, and feel a little more hope for themselves. Suicide is a word that's not often used because it's scary and no one wants to talk about it, including those that experience it. I've spent almost every day for the last 7 years alone in my room, hiding from the world and sleeping to escape my thoughts. I didn't know any other way to cope, and I didn't know any other way to stop self-harming thoughts going through my head. I couldn't see a future. I couldn't see making it much farther in life. I thought I was the most horrible, most disgusting, most awful person, and that I didn't belong here. But that's not true for anyone. And if I can just put my story out there to let one person know that there is hope and that things can change, then I feel that I've succeeded. I didn't care to seek out any help from anyone at all because I figured that there was no way of fixing me, that this is just how I was, and this is just the way I was going to feel forever. And the only way to escape it was to take my own life. I had no dreams. I had no hope. I had nothing. The only thing that kept me here was my family and my friends that were almost non-existent at this point. But I couldn't imagine making that kind of horrible impact on someone else's life, especially someone that I love. My family did everything they possibly could to support me. There's not a single thing I could have asked for. They had no idea how to deal with this, and neither did I. I still don't. But somewhere within myself, I found hope and a future and a will to want to succeed. Now the only thing that I want in life is to help others to not experience what I experienced, to not feel the loneliness of suicidal thoughts and not being able to share them with anyone. It's not something you can talk about. Nobody wants to hear about it. It's scary. People don't know how to deal with it or how to respond. I didn't seek out any help from anyone, including professionals, because I didn't think that I could be fixed. I believed that this is the way that I was, and this is the way it was going to be, and I either had to learn to live with it, or I had to remove myself from this life. I just couldn't imagine doing that to the people I loved and love. I was afraid of myself. I spent many days forcing myself to sleep because I couldn't bear my thoughts. The only dream I could dream was how I could kill myself that wouldn't be incredibly painful. I had it planned out many, many, many times, but I couldn't go through with it, only because of the impact that it would make on others. No one is meant to take their own life. And no one is meant to live their life suffering like that. There is hope, and things can be so much different if you just let them. I have decided to create a YouTube channel. I'm terrified and I don't know how this is going to work out, but I just want my story to be heard. And I want others to know that they're not alone, because I felt that I was the only person who felt these feelings and experienced this. I spent many days terrified of myself, terrified that I was going to do something that I didn't really want to do, as an act of desperation and of not knowing any other way to escape it. My mind constantly told me that this was the only way that I could escape it. The only way that I would ever feel better or free or released from my mind and my thoughts. So I slept, and I slept, and I slept. And my family grew increasingly nervous and worried and concerned. But I didn't know how to talk about it. I didn't know how to tell them how I was feeling. I didn't know how to tell anyone. It's scary. And I don't wish it on my worst enemy. I hid from everyone. I hid from the world. I had beyond zero hope. I didn't want to get out of my bed. I had no reason to get out of my bed. The only way I could quiet my mind was to sleep and sleep and sleep. I spent very few hours awake. I certainly spent very, very few hours out of my house or out of my room. I didn't work. I lived in my parents' house in a dark room on purpose, and dreamed about how I could take my own life. I spent so much time on my bed that my muscles deteriorated. My fitness level went to zero, and I was constantly in pain, emotionally, physically. I was exhausted entirely. I've never been so exhausted until these last 7 years. I didn't know someone could be so exhausted. I felt hopeless, beyond hopeless. I wanted to be alone because I didn't want to impact other people's life with my depressing thoughts and my depressing demeanor. The only one by my side, because it's the only one I would let by my side, was my dog. I can't speak enough to how much of a value a pet can be in your life. And my family sat by and waited because they didn't know what to do. I loved them with everything I possibly could. They were the only things that I loved, the only people I loved. But I didn't know how to fix this, and neither did they. Who knows how to fix this kind of thing? I resented the fact that I was here. I resented the fact that I was still alive. And I hated it. I wished every day that I wasn't. For 7 years, every single day, all I could hope for was that something else would take me, something that wasn't my fault, something that I wouldn't be able to feel guilty for, just some way that I could leave this life and this pain that I felt. I got angry that I couldn't take my life, or that I felt I couldn't. I felt angry that I couldn't escape. I'd go on drives, which is one of my favorite things, and I'd be imagining crashing my car and hoping to kill myself. I'd go out somewhere finally, and as I was coming home, would feel terrified of being alone, but not wanting anyone to be there, not wanting anyone to be part of my pain that I was experiencing, but terrified of myself and my thoughts and being alone. This is by no means anyone else's fault. This all came from within. There's nothing anyone could have done. This was just me. And I felt it was always going to be that way. But eventually I decided that I was going to take baby steps. I eventually got a job through my sister's family, which was the best thing I could have ever asked for. And I made plans to go to my sister and brother-in-law's wedding in Mexico in 2016. I was so happy for them. I still am so happy for them. I was so excited to go to this wedding, but at the same time I was terrified. I was terrified because I felt that my only sibling was now going to be married. I knew she was going to be so cared for. Her life was set. She was going to do amazing things. And that meant that my parents would have grandchildren and they would be happy and everyone could live so much better if I just was not here to burden them. Because that's how I felt, that I was a burden to everyone that knew me. I planned that I would go to this wedding and have a blast. But when I got back, it would be time for me to leave, and I would finally be able to take my life. I was so sure that this was what was supposed to happen, and this is what I was going to do. I had no doubt in my mind. I had it planned, every single part of it, and I was determined that this is what I was going to do, because now my family would be all right without me. But somehow I changed my mind and began to understand that I wasn't meant to leave and that I had some other things to do and that no one is meant to take themselves out of this life. Even if you feel no hope, there's always, always something better. And it's in you to change. I can't say that I'm completely better now, but I'm on my way up. And that's a huge achievement for me. And I want other people to know that it is in you to move up and to get better. I'm creating a YouTube channel because that's the only thing I can possibly think that I would ever want to do with my life, is to use my story in hopes that I can better others' lives. Too many people have committed suicide. One is too many. There's too many overdoses daily. It's beyond devastating. I feel that everyone's connected, whether you're a drug addict, sleeping away your days, eating disorders, self-harming, whatever it may be. It's just a different way that you're learning to cope in your life, or the only way you know how to cope with your feelings and your thoughts. Deep down, we're the same. The core feelings is the same. And no one should judge others for their story and the things they've experienced. I do want to address Ben Haggerty, also known as Macklemore, in this video. One of the things that inspired me that I could do better and I could have more was him and his lyrics. Ryan Lewis as well. I can't forget you. I'm so sorry. You're amazing as well. But Macklemore's lyrics touched me in a way that I never thought music could. And I need to do a major shout out to him. My biggest dream is that he will see my message and that I could get just a little bit of advice from him on having my story heard. I've been obsessed with the music for as long as I can remember, but I've never been touched the way that his music touched my life, changed my life. I'm obsessed with it. I can find a song any day, any mood, depressed, happy, excited, hopeless. No matter what I feel, I have a song that I can play that makes me feel better. Ben, thank you so much for that. I credit my family with saving my life, but I honestly credit Ben Haggerty, aka Macklemore, with inspiring my change and letting me know that my dreams could come true and that things can be different. Maybe Macklemore is not your thing. Maybe that music is not for you. You might be crazy, but that might not be for you. But music is an incredible tool to get you through whatever you're experiencing. There's so many amazing artists out there. And once you make a connection with music and lyrics, it can change everything. But that being said, everything is within you. You can change your life. I'm sorry. I want things to change for mental health. I want suicide to not be a taboo subject, to be something that can be discussed, and that people experiencing it can come out and say that they are suicidal. Because suffering alone, thinking that you're crazy, and that if others found out, they would too think you're crazy, is horrible. It's no one's fault. It's a scary topic. But it happens, and people experience it all the time. And if I can do just the smallest thing to change that, then my life will mean something. The only way I've thought of on how to do this and how to get my story told is a YouTube channel. So I'm asking, please share my video and subscribe to my channel. I have so many things to talk about and so many things that I feel could really help others, and I just want to get my story out there. I just want to make a positive impact on somebody else. You're never alone. Even if you feel alone, there's somebody out there who understands and has been where you are. As I said, everyone's core emotions are the same. However it manifests in your life doesn't matter. you can still connect through emotion. And anyone can get better. If I can get better, you can get better. And I never thought I would say that ever. But my number one dream is just to make an impact now. And for my story and my suffering not to be for nothing. There's a reason why I'm still here. And I'm happy to say that I'm waiting to discover what that is. I finally have almost saved up enough money that I'm going to the Macklemore and Kesha tour in Vegas in June, and I couldn't be more excited. The impact, Ben, that you've made on my life is incredible. I'm obsessed. I listen to the music constantly, and it can make me feel better on my worst day. My advice to others is not to hide. Put yourself out there. Find something, music, anything that you can connect with. And let love into your life, because love is always the answer. I have so many things to say. I have so many things to put out there. But this is my first video and I've never done this before, so I'm sorry that this is a little rough. But I hope that I've gotten the basis of my message out there. Again, please, please, please subscribe to my channel. I just want my story to be told in the hopes that other people will feel that they can come out and tell their story without feeling that people are going to judge them or think they're crazy. Because this doesn't make you crazy. And no one should ever, ever, ever take their own life or die from something like addiction. Your life can be so much better and so much different. And there's a world out there that understands. You just can't see it. And I just want everyone to know that your story doesn't have to end. And things will get better. And that's not you for the rest of your life. I'm sorry this video has been a little rough. This has been the most terrifying thing I've ever done by far. But I hope my message got out there. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you, Macklemore, so much for the music you put out and the story you've told. It's made a world of difference on my life and inspired change for me. I love you. Thanks, everyone. Hopefully I'll see you on my channel where I can share some more thoughts and I'll be a little more organized and hopefully this will get a little bit easier. Thank you.